Let me ask you something before we start. Think about where your money went last month. Not the rent, not the groceries, those you remember. I'm talking about the other stuff, the things you pay for quietly, automatically, without really thinking about whether they're still earning their place in your life. Because here's what I've noticed about 2026. The world has changed fast. What used to be a good deal, genuinely good value, something that made sense a few years ago, a lot of it simply isn't anymore. Prices went up, alternatives got better, the math shifted, and most people just kept paying anyway. Not out of irresponsibility, out of habit, out of inertia, because nobody sat them down and said, hey, look at what this thing is actually costing you now. That's what this video is. It's that conversation. 10 things that used to be worth your money, that used to make sense, that millions of people are still spending on in 2026, but probably shouldn't be. And I'm going to tell you exactly why each one no longer earns what you're paying for it. Hey, I'm Alice from Money Blueprint. Grab a drink, settle in, and let's go through the list. Number 1. Food delivery apps. Uber Eats, DoorDash, Menulog. Look, I get it, it's convenient. It's late, you're exhausted, you don't want to cook, you don't want to drive. You open the app, you tap a few things, and food shows up at your door. The convenience is real. The cost, though, is something most people have genuinely never sat down and looked at. Here's what's actually happening every time you place that order. Restaurants on these platforms pay the app a commission, typically somewhere between 15 and 30% of the order value. They don't absorb that cost. They pass it directly on to you through inflated menu prices. A choice investigation of delivery apps in Australia found that items ordered through third-party platforms cost on average 12% more than the same items purchased directly. Then, on top of that, you've got the delivery fee, the service fee, and the tip for the driver. A Sydney study of 100 restaurants found that ordering through an app costs Australians around 36% more than buying in-store. So a meal that costs $18 at the restaurant easily becomes $28 or $30 through the app, every time. The occasional order makes complete sense. Life gets busy. But if this has become a twice-a-week habit, and for a lot of households it has, you are quietly spending thousands a year just on the premium of having food brought to you. The convenience is real, but so is the cost. And in 2026, that cost has gotten steep enough that it's worth actually looking at. Number 2. New cars. The moment a brand new car leaves the showroom floor, it loses roughly 15 to 20% of its value before it hits the first set of traffic lights. That's not a metaphor. That's the actual depreciation that happens the moment you drive away as the registered owner. By the end of the first year, that loss typically climbs to 25 or 30%. On a $50,000 car, you've lost $12,000 to $15,000 in 12 months. Not because the car broke down, not because anything went wrong, just because it's no longer new, and it now has your name on the registration. People have been doing this for decades and calling it normal. But here's the thing about normal. It's not the same as smart. A 3 to 5-year-old car has already absorbed the steepest depreciation. The person who bought it new took that hit, so you don't have to. The car still works. It still gets you everywhere. Modern vehicles, looked after properly, run reliably for 200,000 kilometers and beyond. And you can buy that 3-year-old version for significantly less than the new equivalent. No monthly repayments eating into your income, no negative equity trapping you in a loan cycle, no interest paid to a lender for the privilege of owning something that's losing value faster than you're paying it off. In 2026, buying a new car off the lot and financing it is one of the most expensive habits a household can maintain. The transport outcome is almost identical. The financial outcome is completely different. Now, if you go to the gym regularly, this one's not for you. Keep going. Your membership is working. But CanStar's most recent survey found that 1 in 4 Australians with a gym membership say they go less than they plan to. Finder's research put it more starkly. Nearly 1 in 5 people with a gym membership admitted they had never set foot inside the gym at all. The average Australian gym goer spends around $77 a month on their membership. Over a year, that's more than $900. For the people who use it, that's money well spent. For the people who don't, and there are a lot of them, it's the most expensive form of guilt in the country. And what makes the gym industry so effective at extracting this money is that the membership gives you the feeling of having done something without requiring you to actually do it. You're a gym member. That counts for something, right? Except it doesn't count for anything on your bank statement, and it doesn't count for much on your health either. In 2026, there are more free and low-cost ways to stay active than at any point in history. YouTube workouts, running apps, community pools, parks, bodyweight training at home. The idea that fitness requires a monthly subscription to a building is just that, an idea. A convenient one for the gym industry, not necessarily a true one for you. If you haven't walked through those doors in the last 2 months, you already know what this point is telling you. Number 4. Streaming services, all of them at once. Cast your mind back to when Netflix first launched. One service, one subscription, access to almost everything. That was the whole promise. Cut cable, pay a fraction, get more. That promise is gone, and what replaced it is functionally cable rebuilt from scratch. In Australia, right now, a standard Netflix plan costs around $21 a month. Disney Plus is nearly $16, Stan is $16, Binge is $19 at the standard tier, HBO Max, which arrived in Australia in 2025 and promptly took all the HBO content off Binge, is another $16 to $22. Paramount Plus, Apple TV, Amazon Prime. If you're running 3 or 4 of these simultaneously, you're spending $60 to $90 a month on streaming. That's somewhere between $720 and $1,100 a year. And the dirty secret of the streaming industry right now is that they are deliberately fragmenting content to force exactly this. The show you want is on one service. The movie you've been waiting for lands on another. The sports package requires yet another subscription entirely. This isn't accidental. Each platform wants to be the one you won't cancel, so they chase exclusive content and pull their libraries off other services, which is exactly what happened with HBO content moving from Binge to Max in 2025. You didn't choose to subscribe to Max. The content just moved there and left you with a choice: follow it or miss out. The value is there if you're watching consistently. The problem is that most people aren't rotating their subscriptions, they're just accumulating them, one at a time, each one reasonable in isolation, until the total adds up to something that would have made cable look cheap. Pick 2. Watch what's on them, cancel the rest, rotate when you're done. The content isn't going anywhere. The salesperson asks you at checkout, usually when you're already mentally done with the transaction and just want to leave, do you want the extended warranty? Just an extra $89. And there's a reason they're trained to ask that question at that exact moment. Extended warranties are one of the highest margin products that electronics retailers sell. The profit on the warranty itself is often greater than the margin on the device you're actually buying. They're priced deliberately to cost more than they statistically pay out. That's not a cynical take. That's how warranties as a financial product are designed to function. If they paid out more than they cost, they wouldn't exist as a product. Modern consumer electronics are most likely to fail either very early, in which case the standard manufacturer's warranty covers you, or much later, after the extended warranty period has already expired anyway. The middle period you're insuring against is actually the most reliable window in a device's lifespan. And if you purchase the item on a credit card, certain cards in Australia come with automatic extended warranty coverage as a cardholder benefit. Many people pay for extended warranties on top of protection they already have sitting in their wallet. In 2026, The extended warranty is almost always a worse deal than simply putting that money aside and self-insuring. You probably don't need it. The store absolutely wants you to buy it. Number 6. Brand name everything when the generic is identical. A bottle of branded laundry detergent costs nearly twice what the supermarket's own brand costs. The generic ibuprofen at the pharmacy contains the exact same active ingredient at the exact same dose and concentration as the branded version for half the price. Kohl's and Woolies house brand pasta, rice, canned tomatoes, cleaning products. In blind test after blind test, people cannot consistently tell the difference from the branded equivalent. The premium you pay for a brand name is not, in most categories, paying for a better product. It's paying for the advertising campaign that convinced you it's a better product. The marketing budget, the shelf placement, the celebrity endorsement, the packaging design. None of which improves what you're actually putting in your washing machine or swallowing for your headache. There are categories where brand matters. Running shoes, for instance, where the engineering is genuinely different. But for everyday supermarket products, cleaning supplies, and pharmacy staples, switching to the generic equivalent consistently across your shop can save a household hundreds of dollars a year. Same outcome, significantly lower cost, and the only thing you're giving up is the logo on the bottle. Number 7. Bottled water, if you have access to tap water. Australia has some of the highest quality tap water in the world. It is filtered, treated, and regulated to standards that most countries genuinely cannot match. A liter of tap water in Australia costs a fraction of a cent. A 600 milliliter bottle of water at a convenience store costs $3 to $4. That markup is, depending on how you calculate it, somewhere between 1,000 and 3,000% over the cost of the equivalent volume from your tap. The bottled water industry has done something extraordinary. It's convinced people in countries with excellent, safe, free tap water to pay for the same thing in single-use plastic. The marketing around purity and source and natural minerals is just that, marketing. The regulatory standards for bottled water in Australia are, in some ways, actually less rigorous than the standards for tap water. A reusable water bottle, bought once, pays itself back in a matter of weeks if you're currently buying bottles regularly. The environmental math is obvious. The financial math is just as clear. If you're buying bottled water out of habit rather than genuine necessity, 2026 is a fine year to stop. Number 8. Paying for convenience you could automate or eliminate. This one is less about a specific product and more about a pattern that's quietly expensive in aggregate. ATM fees for using out-of-network machines, foreign transaction fees on cards that charge them when fee-free alternatives exist, late fees on bills because payments weren't automated, convenience fees tacked onto ticket purchases, utility top-ups, and government services when a free option exists with slightly more effort, monthly account fees on bank accounts that have free equivalent alternatives. Individually, each of these feels small. A $2 ATM fee here, a $5 late fee there, a booking fee on a ticket. But they're all paying for inconvenience, specifically the inconvenience you experience when you haven't set up systems that eliminate them. In 2026, almost every bank fee, late payment fee, and convenience surcharge you regularly encounter has either a free alternative or an automatable solution. Direct debits for bills that have a due date, a free bank account, a card that doesn't charge international transaction fees if you travel. These aren't sophisticated financial moves, they're 10-minute decisions that eliminate recurring costs permanently. Number 9. Buy now, pay later for non-essential purchases. Afterpay, Zip, Hum. The pitch is frictionless and it works. Split your purchase into 4 payments, no interest if you pay on time. It feels like a smarter way to manage cash flow. But here's what the research consistently shows. People who use buy now, pay later spend 10 to 40% more than they would if they were paying up front. Not because they're careless, because the psychology of smaller numbers is genuinely powerful. A $200 pair of shoes feels expensive. 4 payments of $50 feels fine. Your brain is doing the math differently, and the industry is designed to exploit exactly that gap. Nearly 40% of buy now, pay later users globally have missed at least one payment. Late fees stack. Some services charge interest on remaining balances. What looked like free financing becomes consumer debt. And the real cost isn't just the fees. It's what buy now, pay later does to your relationship with purchases. It removes the friction that would otherwise make you pause and ask, do I actually want this, or am I just buying it because the barrier is so low? That friction is useful. It's not a bug in the system of paying with money you actually have. It's a feature, one that buy now, pay later specifically removes. In 2026, if you can't pay for something in full today, the honest question isn't which payment plan suits me best. It's, do I actually have the money for this right now? Number 10. Premium coffee as a daily non-negotiable. Look, I'm not here to take away your coffee. This isn't about deprivation. But I do think it's worth running the number once, clearly, so you can make a conscious decision rather than an automatic one. A specialty coffee order at a cafe, flat white, oat latte, whatever your order is, typically runs between $5 and $8 in Australia right now. If that's a daily habit, 5 days a week, you're spending $100 to $160 a month on coffee. That's $1,200 to $1,900 a year. A quality home coffee setup, a decent espresso machine, and a grinder cost somewhere between $400 and $800 upfront. Good specialty beans at home cost roughly $1 per cup. The setup pays itself back within a few months, and every cup after that is $1 instead of $6. Now, here's the thing. Some of those cafe visits are worth it, genuinely. The morning ritual, the walk, the brief moment of being somewhere that isn't home or work, the barista who knows your order, that has value beyond the coffee itself. I'm not dismissing that. But if you're buying cafe coffee every single weekday on autopilot, not because you particularly savor it, but just because that's what you do, the question is worth asking. Is this conscious, or is this just inertia? $1,000+ a year is a real number. Invested consistently over a decade, it's a surprisingly large one, and the choice of what to do with it should probably be deliberate. So there it is. 10 things that either never were worth what they cost or used to make sense and simply don't anymore in 2026. Here's the thing. None of this is actually about. It's not about never ordering food or never going to a cafe or living like a monk. That's not what building financial awareness means. What it means is making conscious decisions, knowing what things actually cost, understanding what you're paying for, and choosing deliberately, rather than defaulting on autopilot. Because the economy in 2026 is very good at one thing: extracting money from people who aren't paying attention, subscriptions that renew quietly, fees that feel small individually, products priced around brand perception rather than actual value, convenience that's genuinely convenient but priced far above what the convenience is worth. Your only real defense against all of it is knowing the numbers, running them, deciding intentionally, yes, this earns its place in my life, or no, this is just habit and I should redirect that money somewhere better. Every category on this list represents money that could be doing something else for you. Not a dramatic amount in any single case, but combined, across a year, it adds up faster than most people expect. And in a cost of living environment as tight as this one, that combination matters. I'll see you in the next one.